Hello, lovely family and friends, and warm welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Samira, and I hope you're all doing well by God's grace. So today, our recipe is Bofrot. Okay, so this Bofrot, we are doing the dry one. So we have two different types, the wet and the dry. But today, I'm going with the dry one. I'll bring you the wet one very soon. So stay tuned, and let's see how this is made. So first of all, we need to bloom our yeast, okay? So the yeast is just a microorganism and it feeds well on sugar, okay? So it consumes sugar to produce carbon dioxide and alcohol, okay? So to make sure your yeast is working or alive, okay, you need to bloom it in water, warm water. So between 40 to 43 degrees Celsius or 105 to 110 Fahrenheit, okay? So whilst that is blooming away, I'm going to add my dry ingredients, okay? So I have my flour. I'm using strong flour or bread flour, and I'm adding some milk, which is Nido, powdered milk, sugar, and then salt, okay? So the sugar is the rest of the sugar we scooped to add to our yeast, okay? I've added some nutmeg, and I'm going to stir all of this together, okay? So with this recipe, I borrowed bits and bobs from Nanabe's kitchen, okay? But basically most of it is mine, all right? So yes, our yeast has bloomed nicely, and you can see how it is nice and fluffy, okay? Right? It means that it is very alive and it's going to help our dough rise. Okay, so we're going to add this and plus some butter. But before then, I added some lemon extract, okay? My family loves to eat anything with lemon, so I always add lemon extract or rind of lemon, okay, or lemon zest, okay? So I'm going to add all of the liquids together. I've added it actually, and I'm going to pour it into my dry ingredients, and I'm going to use my machine, okay, to mix it. Right, so you can do this with your hand, by hand. You can just knead it by hand. But my people, if you know me by now, I am lazy. If there is machine for something, I'll use the machine. Always go for the machine. Not my strength. I reserve it for something else. Anyway, so this will be going on, and I'll be sitting in my corner somewhere doing something else. You see, the machine is very, very useful. Okay, so it's going to knead until it becomes nice and smooth, as you see it now. There's an old machine, so it's not able to do as I want it, but once I felt that it has kneaded enough, I took it out, right? So let me tell you about proving this dough, right? Because it's strong flour, right, it doesn't need to be proved twice. It means that you don't need to let it sit and inflate twice, right? However, when I was in the process of making this, I had a call. I had to go into a meeting, right? So I left it, and by the time I came back, it had proved a little bit, right? But I needed to prove it to get the outer skin to dry out, okay? The exterior of the dough to dry out, to get that leather feel that we have when you make dry bofrot, okay? So I realized that double proving it made it nicer and fluffy. So though you don't need to double prove it, I accidentally double proved it, and it turned out great. So my subsequent ones, okay, so I made Bofrot like 3 batches in the same week. I double proved it, okay? So the subsequent ones, I double proved it, okay? So one of the things I borrowed from Nanabe's kitchen is she would roll it like into a log and cut it, right? So I rolled it into a log and I cut it, and the measurement I was cutting them was 80 grams, right, to get them to be nice and big, okay, so that it wouldn't be like, nice and big, that's all. All right, so that's what I'm doing, measuring it out, and then later on, I'm going to form them all into a ball, okay? So whilst that is going on, I just wanted to mention that if you want to substitute your milk, okay, your powdered milk for evaporated milk, what you need to do is your water, if your water is 500 milliliters, reduce it to say 200, and your milk 300 to make up for that liquid. Okay, so at this point, what I am doing is forming the doughs into balls. So what I am actually doing is bringing all the ends together in the middle and sealing it at the end. Okay, and I'm using the heel of my palm to sort of seal the ends really well, right? But if it doesn't seal very well, it's going to turn it into some sort of crack form, which is really, really nice. And it gets that, hard exterior, the cracky base, and makes it nice. So don't worry if you don't get it right. But yeah, that's what I've just done. And then, roll it on the surface to form a nice ball, right? That's what I'm doing. So this is where I'm going to be proofing it. Okay, the sun was out, so I thought like, hey, so I decided to put it in my muffin tray. Okay, so I really floured it generously so that it doesn't stick, and I put all of them in the muffin trays and I left it in the sun, okay, so that it will be nice and dry and it doesn't absorb oil when you fry it. Okay, that is one best thing about this recipe. Okay, so it's nicely risen again, and this is me trying to get it out. Okay, so I'll get another baking tray, flour it generously, and then turn this whole thing on top as you see me do now. And now we're going to fry it just as you're called Bofrot. Okay, so don't be despaired, right? Don't be despaired. I have not finished frying the Bofrot. Yeah, start if you keke. Sometimes it's nice to start from the back, then to the front. So this is the first batch, and yeah, I decided to show the second batch mom. Let me say no mom na come on. So me person be mistakes, Me boy, there's no mistake in this, right? I just decided to do that. So you just drop your Bofrot, your balls into the oil gently. The oil must be medium low, okay? Otherwise, abontin be shit. Hey, abontin be shit. Na inside nem being here. The exterior will fry nicely, but the inside will be raw. So on low heat, and as soon as you drop all of them in, you start to turn it so that they all fry evenly. Okay, so as you drop your balls into it, it may have squeezed, but don't worry, it will inflate nicely as it fries, right? So one of the things that is really annoying when you're frying this Bofrot is that when you want to turn it, it doesn't want to turn. You turn it, then it turns back. Charlie, me pese echena aye white no, aye brown be. Into what one nuya kakra, ma unuya so nuya kakra. To say away like this one, it won't badge. Me dano ne peno wadane. If I turn, then it will turn. If I turn, then it will turn. How is the other side supposed to fry? The best way is to fill your pot with Bofrot. Okay, so if you want to avoid this problem, this annoying problem that I'm having right now, fill it with Bofrot as I am going to show you in a minute. Okay, so this picture shows me filling or have filled my thing fully, so I didn't have that problem. What I say, I didn't have that problem. So that is the key to not having this annoying problem. I want 10 problems. Stubborn cats. Okay, so yeah, we just fry it, and it's nicely fried. Oh, beautifully fried, I tell you. And this is really delicious. Actually, I will tell you that my personal preference is to add evaporated milk because it gives you a very nice, deep, intense taste and flavor. So your Bofrot, are you ready? It is ready, and look at that. Oh, already, everybody that ate this really, really enjoyed it. Okay, so now mine own, I put less sugar in it, but I'm going to put alternative quantity of sugar if you want it sweet in the description box, right? So it means that I should have just put plenty sugar in it, because when I tasted it, it wasn't sweet enough for me. So girls, what I did, I added maple syrup. Charlie, and it was good. It was really, really, really good. So you see how nice and fluffy it was when I opened it. And now I'm adding my maple syrup. It was so good. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope we've picked up a few bits, a few tips here and there. And please don't forget to like this video, share, and please subscribe if you haven't. You're new here. Welcome. I always say welcome at the end. Look at how chewy it is. Like, to say trying. And I'm also saying it is stylistic, right? Okay, so that is it. I will see you all again in the next one, and bye.